Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. How are you today? Okay, hopefully that you are fine. Today I'm going to share with you an instructional video on reading skills, which is about reviewing and predicting and skimming and scanning. Let's have a look at the image here first. Okay, right, this is an image of a person riding a bicycle. So before we start or before we go into detail about previewing and predicting, we need to know what is the difference between a skill and a strategy. So look at these people riding a bicycle. So can you see the difference between a skill and a strategy? You're not sure yet. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide, and hopefully the next slide it will tell you better or more about a skill and a strategy. So what is the difference between a skill and a strategy? Again, the second question. Remember when you learn to ride your bicycle with no hands. So how do you feel about this? Happy, right? And you feel that you have accomplished something. So is this a skill or a strategy? So the skill is the end product of a lot of practice. So we can see over here, right, in this picture, when you are able to ride your bicycle with no hands, it shows that you have mastered the skill. Okay, so meaning that when you have done a lot of practices, the end product is the skill that you have achieved. So to learn that skill, you may need a strategy such as learning to balance the bike by shifting your weight. So to be able to ride a bicycle with no hands, you have to practice on how to balance yourself on the bicycle without falling down. And you need a strategy. So the strategy to make sure that you stay balanced on the bicycle, it is the strategy. Okay, and then the skill to be able to ride the bicycle with no hands, it is the skill. Because at the end of it, through that strategy, whereby you're maintaining yourself, keeping yourself balanced on the bicycle, it is called a strategy. And then at the end of it, once you are able to master the strategy, you're going to achieve the skill, which is riding the bicycle with no hands. So over here, we try to relate it back to the reading skills. So the reading skill is the product, identifying the main idea, while the reading strategy is the process, reviewing and predicting. So when you preview and predict the content, you are actually getting involved in the strategy. And when you are able to read and understand the whole thing, it is called the skill. So comprehension is both a product and a process, something that requires purposeful strategic effort on the reader's part. So when you are going to read and try to comprehend the content, so you are actually predicting, visualizing, and clarifying the content. So when you predict, you are going to guess what is the text all about. When you visualizing or visualize it, you are actually trying to imagine what is going on actually based on the reading material. And then clarifying, you're trying to connect your experiences maybe, okay, or knowledge, right, prior knowledge. And then from there, you can check whether the contents that you have read is correct or not. So this is a warm-up activity. Can you read this passage? I can read a bit like, once upon a time, there lived in a, right, what is this? Captive village, maybe. A little, right. How about the title? Little Red Riding Hood. So what is preventing you from reading this passage? Maybe because of the alphabets. Okay, the writings are not familiar to you. Let's say if you have this image being shown to you together with this passage. Perhaps by looking at this image, you know that this passage is about Little Red Riding Hood. Again, if you are familiar with this story. Okay, let's have a look at this next image. What is it about? Okay, the strategy involved is trying to preview what is it about. So given these kind of images, what can you say about it? So on the right, it shows about the fast food, correct? And then on the left, it shows about biscuit, eating the fast food. So we can connotate by looking at this image, fast food brings more problem, especially in terms of obesity among children, for instance. So what words do you think you might find in the article that we are about to read? Okay, so the strategy is to predict, guess. Right, so what do you know about this activity? Can you predict what you are about to do, and how do you know? Again, you have this kind of writing and you are not familiar with it, right? So you can predict what you are about to do if you know the language. In this context, since that you didn't know about it, you are having problem to predict what it is about. So we are not going to do this activity. Right. So when you are previewing and predicting, you are actually guessing about the text. Firstly, what you can do is try to look at the title of the text. Okay, so let's say this is an example of an article from a journal. So there are a lot of things over here actually, but how to get to know more about it by just reading the title. Let's say if you're looking for something, for example, social studies, that is a keyword. So you look at the title of this article and you will find the term social studies being mentioned. So by looking at that thing, you can guess or you can predict that the text over here, it is related to social studies. So the act of previewing the title helps you to predict that the text it is related or the text is related to social studies if your keyword search is social studies. Okay, so that's all about previewing and predicting. So basically, you know by now when you are going to preview, one of the best thing that you can do is to look for any related images, or the most important thing that you can do is to look at the title first. So when you look at the title, it is called a previewing activity. So you are guessing by reading the title, you know what is the content all about, and then you are going to predict the content must be related to what you are looking for. So this is on previewing and predicting. Let's move on to the next thing, which is on skimming and scanning. All right, skimming, scanning, reading for detail and images in text. So we are familiar with this kind of reading materials. So these are very familiar to us. Magazine, newspaper, brochures, pamphlet, flyers, books. Okay, and nowadays we read a lot through internet. Okay, when you skim, the objectives are to read the titles, headings and illustrations to decide if the material is or is of interest. So first thing, normally when you have a magazine or a newspaper, you are going to look at the title or the subtitles, the headings or the illustrations, so that you can decide whether this is an interesting material for me, something that I am looking for or not. To scan, you are going to locate the information, right? So normally when we are saying that you skim the text, you are going to read the title, the headings, and look at the illustrations. Whereas for scanning, you are actually trying to locate the information. Okay, specific information can be obtained through detailed reading. Remember about previewing and predicting. So once you read the title, you can predict what is the text all about. Again, when you skim, you read all the titles in that particular text or subtitles or subheadings inside it, and then you can decide whether this is totally relevant, and then you scan to locate the information that you are looking for. You can also relate an image to print and use it to obtain the meaning. So by looking at an image, for instance, okay, you can also try to understand more about the text. So I'm not going to play the video here, but once I have uploaded this video, the slides actually, so you can watch it on your own. And for your information, all of these slides, okay, can be found in the column. So on skimming and scanning, it is a useful technique to help you read a text quickly. You don't have to read every word. Okay, so the idea behind reading skill is to make sure that you are able to locate the specific information by not reading the whole thing. Okay, so skimming, it is used to get the main ideas of a text quickly. So you are actually looking the gist of it. So by reading the titles, the headings and illustrations of the interest of or your interest, you can straight away get the gist of the text, and then you know that this is what I'm looking for. Okay, for example, right over here, you want to know more about this breaking news. So when you are looking at this breaking news heading, so you know that this is something very interesting. Okay, or you Google in the internet, okay, on skimming and scanning, and then you found a link, you open it, and then it stated here skimming and scanning, and it comes together with a video. So you're going to watch the video on how to do skimming and scanning. The same goes over here, right? Let's say if you go to the library, when you are searching for a book, you went to the one of the shelves, all right, and then you read the title on the hidden part of this book, all right, and then from here you can know whether this is the book that you are looking for. So read the title, then you will understand better. Right, when you are scanning, you are actually trying to locate the information quickly. So you want the information to be about a specific topic, which one that you are looking for. Okay, you know the keywords you are looking for, and one of the examples, for example here, the phone book. Okay, I'm not sure whether you are still familiar with it because we are living in 2019, but way back in 1990s, okay, we have the phone book, the thick one. Okay, it comes together with color, yellow pages book. Okay, so when you are looking for specific person, okay, phone number, you can go through this phone book. You know the name, you look at the name, and then straight away you can find the person phone number. The same goes in the dictionary. So if you're looking for the word or the meaning of the word rejuvenate, so you know that it started with the alphabet R, so you go straight away to R instead of looking from A until R. So you go straight away to R, and then you can find the word and find the meaning of it. Okay, sometimes you need to read every word. So this is reading for detail. For example, this is a manual. Before you start operating something, a machine, for example, you need to read the manual. You need to know about all of the parts, okay, for that particular machine, and then how does it functions differently from each other, and how to make sure that it is safe for you. So this is what you can do. Reading for detail, meaning that it helps you to understand more about something before you can execute a process, for instance. Or when you are trying to fill in a form, okay, you have to read all of the instructions carefully, and then from there you are able to fill in the form correctly. Okay, so images in text. It is often part of a text because when you have an image, normally the description or the explanation will come together after it. So it get you to the point across quickly and easily. And then for example over here, this is a remote control. And these are the legends or the indicators for each of the button over here and what are the functions. Okay, so by looking, for instance, you are looking at the button for volume control. So by reading this legend, you know where to push for the volume button. Okay, right. So again, as a recap, skim, scan, and read for detail. Use skim to find a suitable text for finding the definitions of the theme. You look for the keyword. It is a gist. You can look at the illustration, the heading, and the headline. You scan the text to find the words. Okay, again, when you skim, this is the first process, right? You read the things over here first, and then if it is suitable or the one that you are looking for, you scan through the text to find the words, okay, the keywords that you are looking for, and then you read about it in detail to find the definitions. So you can write the definitions in your personal dictionary or a small book, and then you can discuss with your partner the reasons for your choice. So this is how you are writing academically. You read, okay, you found the information, you write it back, okay, using your own words, or maybe you can take certain points, but you have to rewrite everything to avoid plagiarism, and then therefore you can present your findings to others. Okay, class, so that's all about previewing and predicting, and also about skimming, scanning, and reading for detail. So thank you very much for watching, and see you again.